Hello. It's been a few days since I've recorded a book review. Been very busy with work and other stuff. But let's move on. One of my earlier book reviews was the book Conduct Unbecoming: Gays and Lesbians in the U.S. Military by Randy Shiltz. And in that book review, I mentioned that was his last book. He rushed to get it done before he died. And, well, he did complete it, and it's an amazing work. It's not his only amazing work. Much earlier, he wrote the book And the Band Played On by Randy Shiltz. It's from the 80s. It's the definitive work on AIDS in the United States in the 1980s, and its politics, people, and the AIDS epidemic. The book came out in 1987. He was a columnist on the San Francisco Chronicle, the San Francisco Chronicle. And he was the only reporter in the country assigned to cover AIDS. And that started in 1982. He accumulated thousands of documents in his research and writing, and as you can tell, it's the definitive work for the 1980s on AIDS in the United States. It's an amazing read. As a newspaper writer, he knows how to write. He knows how to draw you in. And once you're drawn in, it's tough to put down the book. It's also heartbreaking when you see how little people cared until Rock Hudson announced that he had AIDS. Of course, today, with everything we've learned in the last 30 to 40 years, we now say HIV positive. You die of an AIDS-related illness. But in the 80s, if you died of AIDS, you died of AIDS, even though it was something else that killed you. So I highly recommend this book. It's emotionally a difficult book to read when you see how callous, in particular politicians, but no, medical people, nurses, doctors who didn't want to be in the room with someone who had AIDS. They didn't want to touch them. It was wonderful people like Princess Diana who visited hospices with AIDS patients, and she touched them and hugged them long before other people were doing, and she did it to show you're not going to get sick by showing that even basic affection or just consideration. So I highly recommend this book, And the Band Played On by Randy Shiltz. It was made into a movie documentary, I believe, on PBS. But it's hard to summarize a book that thick. It's just like, I guess if I were to compare it, Gone with the Wind, big thick book, movie, big long movie, and yet it hardly touches on what's in the book. And the same thing here. Thank you very much. Take care.